Rising cost of living has one silver lining. Well, sort of. It's cooling down the property market for aspiring home buyers, and not just in Sydney. Dan Sofo is a buying agent and joins us now to share his hot tips to get your foot on the property ladder. First off, Dan, pleasure to have you here.
Likewise, thank you.
What exactly does a buyer's agent do?
I guess the best way to think about what a buyer's agent does is, if you think about what a selling agent does, they exclusively work for a person selling a house to get the very best possible price. Well, we're on the other side of the fence, so we exclusively work for buyers, and we take care of every single detail, from actually sourcing the property to making sure that it's okay, that it's not a dud, taking care of all of the negotiations to get it to the very lowest possible price, and then also taking care of all of those little details from the exchange to the settlement.
Right on.
Now, not all of us might have access to a buyer's agent, so you've got a lot of wisdom that you could share. Your first tip is to keep your finger on the pulse and go to practice auctions. Like, what do you mean by this?
So, I think everyone was really surprised over the last couple of years at how quickly prices rose. And what we're seeing right now is, conversely, they're actually falling potentially as quickly. So it's really important to stay on top of what's happening out there on a day-by-day, on a week-by-week basis. And you can open up realestate.com or Domain. That information is out there and easily available. But the best way to see what's happening is to go to an auction.
Right.
Or go to a couple of auctions every week. And that way you can actually see, like, what's happening, what's the temperature of the buyers that are out there, if there are even any buyers out there at all. You might see there are no bids, you might see there are low bids, you might see the only bid was the vendor's bid, and there was just absolute crickets. And it's really good to see what's happening at an auction in that cooling market. It gives you a level of confidence, it gives you a sense of where prices actually are at. And you never know as well, you might sense that you can potentially afford something that you thought you couldn't 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah,
so it's great to be out there.
You're suggesting as well, watching the number of days that a home is on the market. Are you finding any reluctance from people to accept bids at the moment? I know it's a silly question, like, there's a lot of houses on for sale, but is that one of the reasons why it's not being sold? That people just, I want what I want and I'm not going to take anything less?
There is definitely a sense that maybe some selling agents and some sellers haven't recalibrated to what's happening right now, and I do see things being guided at, let's call them November 2021 prices, and they just quite haven't gotten on top of where things are at right now. And sellers have seen their neighbour down the road sell for, X price, so they think that their place is worth, maybe X or X plus a couple of percent. So there is this kind of period right now where sellers aren't quite meeting the market, and maybe the properties are staying around on market for too long because they're adamant that they're going to get that price. And that creates problems in itself, because then you end up with stale listings. Would-be buyers think, well, there must be something wrong with that. Why isn't it sold? They might, last year things were selling in a week or two. Now if something sits around for 4 or 5 weeks, it's a problem property.
Yeah. And when you say the current market, the current situation we got, what is that? Like, is it going to go... If you're looking to buy a house at the moment, do you wait? Is it going to go down more? Do you buy now? Is now the time when the sellers aren't meeting the market expectations, so they feel more desperate to sell? Like, what do we do? Just tell us what to do.
Oh, jeez.
Please.
I think we are in a really funny spot right now today. We've got the war, we've got the pre-election jitters, we've got all this talk in the papers about interest rate rises. So we do have nervous buyers and we do have nervous sellers as well. So I would actually say right now, fortune favours the brave. And if you are prepared to sort of look past all that and still pursue your buying aspirations and just do your homework really well, and maybe, look for those opportunities, and I'm guess just talking through a few more tips today. Look for those opportunities to take advantage of the market jitters. I think you can really win.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because you're talking about comparable sales as well, keeping a list of them, but also about doing background checks.
Absolutely.
What type of background checks ourselves?
Yeah, I guess I'm starting to see now properties come onto the market that only traded a year ago or a year and a half ago. It's great to know that, because then you want to ask these sorts of questions. Why are they selling so quickly? Is it distress? Is it they were tree changes or sea changes and they decided that where they have moved to is not quite right for them and they want to go back to where they came from? Or is it they bought a renovator's delight and they thought they could turn it into a dream home and then realise that you can't get a builder? Or if you can get a builder, costs are 40% more than they were this time last year. So having this sort of knowledge of what's going on out there, when they last traded, you can sort of sense if there's going to be an opportunity there. So, yeah, good to keep an eye on those things.
All right, let's go to tip 5, is to make an offer, how you should go about that. How should you go about your offer?
Yes. So there is a really good way to make an offer in a cooling market, and it takes advantage of the fatigue that I'm seeing on behalf of the sellers and the agents. You know, they're getting lots of people through homes. They're getting issuing lots of contracts, and it all amounts to nothing, or maybe someone making a lowball offer on the phone.
Yeah.
If you step forward with a very compelling offer crafted in the right way, i.e. a nice formal letter, accompanied by a deposit check and a signed contract front page, and you use words that basically indicate to the seller that you're happy to trade unconditionally, i.e. no cooling off waiver. To a seller that's been on the market for a few weeks or a few weeks too long, it's very compelling. They think, well, all I got to do is sign this and the pain is over.
Yeah.
And it will make them much more amenable, I've been finding anyway, to perhaps a lower price.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that it's all in the presentation, like a nice...
Absolutely.
How about this presentation? Because I like this one. You also advise buyers to ask for deal sweeteners.
Deal sweeteners.
I'm keen.
Yes, we love, love, love deal sweeteners.
Like what? Like money? Give me some money and I'll have your house. I'll give it back to you.
Wine?
There can be deal sweeteners, they can come into a few different categories. So the first deal sweetener might be a term. So it might be longer settlement, a smaller deposit, things like that. Then there are physical deal sweeteners like, let's do the fridge, telly, washing machine, dryer, pot plants and garden furniture all included. It might be, let's throw in the marketing, the professional marketing photos, so we can use those when we're renting our property out. Or what's another good one? Early access visits, I love. Allow us to come through 3 or 4 times before the property settles, so we can get our tradies through to price up. All this stuff equals real money. So whatever we can get put into that contract, into the negotiation, we do.
That's great. That's a big one.
Yeah.
I like that one, yeah.
Things you'd never think of. And you also have one more tip that's not on this list, but it's very important. What is it?
I think, are we talking about not being a predator?
I don't know.
We are now.
Look, this is something that's a little bit close to my heart because, you know, I've been a personal buyer, personal seller, and I know what it's like actually speaking directly with a lot of owners in cooling markets. Like, there are people out there that are suffering right now, and whilst you might be getting the bargain of the year, there's someone on the other side that might be suffering or in distress, financial distress. So I always say to our clients, you know, let's get the best deal that we can, but let's be nice human beings about it. You know, treat people with dignity, treat people with respect. It always helps get the deal over the line in a nicer way as well, and can leave everyone feeling good about it. So, yeah.
I guess
the
that's
best
for
one of them all,
everything
I
in
think.
life, isn't it?
That's
Everything.
right.
Yeah.
That's great. Good on you,
Absolutely.
Dan. Dan, thanks so
Thanks,
much for
Dan.
the advice today. Dan
Thanks so
Sofo, check
much.
him out.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.